What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we're doing the tier list for Robotic Revival on Part and Parcel. Brian, let's hear the mutation.
Part and Parcel is the map where we have to break boxes to collect parts. When we get enough, General Davis opens the hybrid and then dies to it. We then have to destroy the hybrids for her before running out of time to win the game. Amon gets a laser drill at the southeast corner. Enemies revive upon death and sometimes make your guys run around in fear.
Like actual idiots. So, Sticksbetter and Tutu are on the call with us today. How are you guys?
Great.
Great.
Good. We're here. Good.
We're definitely here. That is certainly a thing we are. So, Tutu,
Yes.
how are we gonna rank the commanders this week?
So the drill causes fear, so that's really annoying for some commanders who rely on hero units, because if the hero gets stunned or constantly feared, then you're gonna lose out on a lot of the damage. Just die means that your fights will take longer, so if you want to get rid of the laser's vision, you have to spend more time killing the enemies, and they
Yes.
make you run around in fear. Also, there's one more thing to consider, which is that if the hybrid summons units, that's going to be a problem for some people.
Alright, how about you, Sixbender?
Another note is that the hybrid script is kind of broken by Just Die. So what happens is, remember that the hybrid, after it takes a certain amount of damage, will do its like splitting into clones or resummoning the original base hybrid or whatever, right? So it'll summon all those different things.
Oh wow.
This is based on the health breakpoints of the total health pool of the hybrid. The total health pool of the hybrid doesn't get affected by Just Die, and it doesn't reset whenever it, gets emptied the first time. So all that happens is that every time you kill
The Mobius hybrid.
one of the pieces of the Mobius hybrid, as it splits into its little clones and whatnot, you kill that piece, and that piece revives with Just Die, but also it summons the next phase.
Oh wow.
So you'll end up with significantly more hybrid running around than you should, and then suddenly all of them will die because you killed the hybrid, and
That's
then all of these
crazy.
tons of hybrid clones will just suddenly pop because they're dead now, because it's just based on the total health of the hybrid as, shows up on the side of the screen. So kind of breaks how the hybrid is supposed to work, but it still functions. It functions well enough that most people don't notice this is a bug.
Abathur, what do we have him?
With a laser drill, your early game luring will require probably 2 spore crawlers. With Just Die, you'll need about twice as many toxic nests, hopefully not wasted. So the early game is extremely rough, and I suggest using P2 and opening with swarm hosts. So once you get 2 swarm hosts with 100 biomass, it becomes a lot easier because the locust will tank damage. But before then, it's really tough. And if you don't lure, or if you're not good at it, or if you just wait for your ally to do something, that's like you're gonna contribute very, very little. Yeah, and it takes a while because of Just Die. So
Yes.
I put him in C.
Alright, how about you, Sixbender?
Yeah, he's going to be very slow to get going. I feel like C.
Unanimous. I also had him in C. Alarak, where do we have him?
He's interesting. So he has a lot of damage to punch through Just Die. So Just Die usually won't be a problem for him. The laser drill can be a problem, but he also has expendable hit points with Supplicant. Basically, it's kind of a deal of Alarak should have everything he needs to counter the mutators here, but it is a little bit tricky to pull off in practice. I soloed this with Artificer of Souls, and I mean, it wasn't easy because it was like a case of don't mess up the micro, but also it was easy because like I kind of steamrolled it because I didn't mess up the micro. So basically the deal there was that as long as Alarak and or Supplicants was getting shot at and not my Wrathwalkers, then everything was fine. The Supplicants and Alarak were plenty of free expendable hit points in front who could get shot all they wanted. I don't care. They can get feared. I don't care. They just have to stand in front of the Wrathwalkers, and that they run around in circles. They're not, running and cowering behind Wrathwalkers. They're running around in circles uselessly. So they are staying in front of the Wrathwalkers. So it was just a case of Wrathwalkers killing everything while the enemy was busy shooting at Alarak and Supplicants. And every time they killed one, they just made the Wrathwalkers angrier. So I would say maybe B.
How about you, Tutu?
I used P3. I forgot about P1. I usually don't remember P1 because it's usually bad compared to P3. So I start with P3, and I found out that if you charge in with Alarak first, you're gonna lose your whole army because he will eat everything. like your mothership will shoot stuff, but not fast enough depending on the enemy and depending on like when. So he's gonna kill everything that you have, which is why I learned that before moving forward, I drag click a few supplicants and send them in forward, and they get hit. And Alarak can hit a few things, and then he can charge in while supplicants are getting hit, then like walk back so that after they die, another supplicant gets hit or someone else, and then Alarak can dish out more damage. With that said, once you get a big enough army, it matters less. But in the earlier game, when you have less stuff, especially like when you're trying to expand, it's gonna be it's all about control and good control. I put him in B as well.
All right, I had him in C, but both of you guys say B, so let's have him in B. Arcturus, where do we have him?
I think I used P1 and I started with ESOs at my own side of the base and then kill everything up to the expansion and then take the expansion and then kill everything else.
Nice.
Once you have the expansion under control, you can kill everything. Attack waves, you don't need to like perfect timing contaminate strike. You can just weaken them or like try to hit some as they're walking, because with P1 you have so many shots even if you're not perfect with it.
Oh yeah.
And if they actually reach your base, you have bunkers which are unaffected by fear. And to fight the Mobius hybrid, you have ESOs plus bunkers with rocket troopers. Cool. It's not a walk in the park, but he's really strong, so I put him in A.
You can just Earth Splitter the laser drill, right?
You can.
All right. How about you?
Not until later though.
How about you, Sixbender?
Yeah, you build ESOs and you just kind of take a nap while ESOs win the entire game. I guess eventually you can leave the base if you wanna, but you don't have to. Should probably be S tier, I feel like. This is just ESOs ignore the mutation for the most part.
What do you think, Tutu? Is S okay for you?
Actually, yes. Because enemy comp doesn't matter that much. If it's an air comp, you can just fear them.
Both of you say S, so let's have an S. Dehaka, where do we have him?
Dehaka, so I think I use Mass Mutalisk and I think worms. Mutalisk worms. Once you get Glevic, it's a lot easier. And that's like automatic. Whereas you don't have to like farm anything. In the early game, you farm as much as you can. You die once maybe and then just wait. Because you're not gonna kill much since there's just die plus laser trying to annoy you. But since if you use P2, Dehaka being weak doesn't really matter that much because it's about pack leader strength. And once you have Glevic, you just start destroying stuff, and then Mervar will come soon after. And and then eventually you head over to the drill where you'll camp it, and it will no longer be a threat. So I put Dehaka in A.
How about you, Stixbender?
So question, I don't actually know this number. What is the break point when Dehaka has enough health that he can just lick a massive unit and let the laser drill kill itself?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, either way, Dekrun is the break point that he will just make the laser drill delete itself.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah, there's Stukov.
Yes.
Yeah, Dekrun.
And at a certain point, Dehaka also has enough health that he can just lick a massive unit and then let the laser drill kill itself by shooting him. But I don't know what that health is. So you could feel free to experiment if you want, and you have enough minerals lying around to just feed drones to Dehaka, because he's very expendable as long as you have enough minerals to feed drones to him.
He's like the Nova of Zerg.
In any case, yeah, P2 Dehaka shouldn't really have any issues here. I don't think he's like Mengsk level, but I think he's very, very good. So I would say he's A personally.
All right. My plan was actually to go Creeper Hosts and just snipe boxes and then the hybrid, but that works too, I guess.
All right, you can use Creeper Host to supplement. The thing is, we're basically saying your plan is use top bar, smash top bar into things, win game. Money, you don't need it, but if you want to spend it, you can use it on whatever.
Yeah, all right, fair. Phoenix, where do we have him?
Phoenix. So as we mentioned, units with large max health don't like to get feared as quickly. So Caldelis usually can get a few slaps off before getting feared and dying. The biggest problem with fear on Caldelis is the fact that it slows down his death, which means that you can't get another Caldelis in there as fast. How unfortunate. Regardless, P2 Phoenix should just kind of steamroll. You just kind of throw Caldelis and Talus, the champion, just all the champions of the problem, but mostly Caldelis and Talus. Honestly, I'm finding the more that I'm practicing of P2 Phoenix, the more I'm realizing that I should just be using Caldelis and Talus as my suicide pair instead of just a Caldelis, because Talus just fits in so well with Caldelis. She still comes from Gateway. She's nice and cheap. She's a similar move speed, and now I have
nice and cheap.
It's very good. So, yes.
Just called Talus
cheap. Champions into problems.
Smash
champions into problems. Things die. Your champions will be part of those things, but that's okay because they come back and the enemies don't.
Well, they do come back. They literally come back. It's just die. But they come back once.
Yes.
So
they don't have as many respawn buttons as you.
Letter.
Probably A.
How about you, Tutu?
Same thing, except there's one more benefit, which is that if one of your Phoenix suits is getting feared, you just switch it.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot that. Yes.
Yes. So I also put him in A because you just play P2 normally, pretty much.
Great.
Phoenix good.
Han
If
and
you're not
Horner.
P2, I would just mass carriers or something.
Han and Horner. Where do we have them?
Han and Horner, they suck. So
What?
if
Airstrikes.
you need to airstrike things twice, if not
No,
more, and
the
you gotta be
boxes.
accurate.
Just airstrike the boxes.
How are you gonna fight the attack waves?
Mag
You're just gonna let them
mines.
kill you? You gotta do it twice and be accurate.
The first life is Magma. Second life, you can fight them with like Mirahan stuff. You'll be fine. You'll be
Enemy
fine.
comp dependent. Enemy comp dependent.
Oh.
And if you're using strike fighters to collect parts, sure, that works. But
Yeah, that's all you need to do.
if the hot boss hybrid is a summoner hybrid, she's just dead.
Oh yeah, that's true.
What are you
though.
gonna do?
That's true though. That part is true. And
I
it's-
put Han Horner in C because extremely
Oh,
comp
well,
dependent,
yeah.
and yeah.
Okay, I was thinking that you'd put him in D or something. I also had him in C.
I have no one. I have no one lower than C. Just heads
All
up.
right. How about you, Six Bender?
What do you mean? Han and Horner are totally S tier because of grabbing parts without. No, yeah, obviously they're pretty bad.
They're not that bad. They're
Uh,
decent. He is decent for Han and Horner.
They're decent. They're decent. Like they're only C because they can grab parts without ever actually having to interact with the base. Which there are other commanders who can do that better, and there are commanders who can just delete the base incidentally without fighting it. Looking up at Mexican S tier, who just exists and everything dies.
Well, yeah, I'm not arguing for S. All right.
But they can grab the parts without going into the base, which usually doesn't have anti-synergy with your ally's commander. So that is something. You're still going to have a really bad time with all the waves because even just the second life on the waves is threatening because
You can fear your guys. But you have counter
bad.
fear.
Your guys are just bad.
You guys have counter fear with the Hellions.
Hellbats.
Oh, Hellbats, yeah,
The Hellions
Hellbats.
give stim. But yes, this is true. Which is
You're
a good
both
idea
right.
to use that because that generally ends up helping the case of your really questionable army.
We're both running around scaring
The
each other.
effectiveness of Han and Orn's army is just questionable. Is the most generous way of putting the effectiveness of Han and Orn's army. I don't think they're terrible, so they're not going to go lower than the C tier.
All right.
But yeah, I think they're. And I also will note that like if they get an easy comp, then like basically you just need a comp that Reapers completely walk all over. So like Skytoss Tempest, where they shoot one projectile every 3 minutes.
Yes, something like that.
And you
Accurate.
can just walk over with Reapers and you'll find that, oh, hey, Han and Horner feel actually pretty good if you don't slip on macro even once, because if you do, you'll suddenly realize, oh, my Reapers all died. Where'd they all go? But if you stay on top of macro, your Reapers you'll just stay maxed out and just everything will be fine. But that's very much comp dependent. So yeah, I think they go in C. They have the same comp dependency as Artanis with better part sniping, but worse ability to smite waves and hybrid from the sky.
Yes, I agree. It's unanimous. I was just afraid because Tutu said terrible, and C is not terrible. C is decent. Look. Terrible is E. Bad is D. Terrible is E. Horrendous is F. Terrible is E. So C is decent. Meh. C is like mediocre.
C is meh. I see.
Meh.
All right, well, Han and Horner are meh then.
All right.
All right, I'll take back
Karax.
the terrible.
Karax, what do we have him?
So Karax has repair beam, which is generally pretty decent against laser drill because of the fact that it means that the laser drill obviously ramps up in damage, but the first level of damage on the laser drill will be considerably less threatening because of the repair beam. Karax has buildings to defend. He has a whole lot of stuff, and then you realize, wait, this map makes you actually go get parts on a timetable, and then Karax says, oh well, that makes this suddenly a lot more complicated. Basically, the way that a lot of solos work with Karax on this map is they just top bar snipe things by using an observer and sniping detection and then like shooting the part crates with top bar, but that's quite difficult, honestly. It's a lot harder than Han and Horner's just send a strike fighter and don't think too hard about it. Karax definitely has to think hard about it if he wants to grab all the parts like that. If you want to just use units, you can. If you get a critical mass of carriers, you just walk over everything. Getting the critical mass is the hard part. So you probably would want to, I would say, use basically early on use cannons. Cannon push into the really thinly defended parts and just like grab the parts with a probe and cannon when there's like few defenses there. The cannon should draw aggro from the laser drill because the cannon, it has an attack and the probe is a worker, so it shouldn't draw aggro from the laser drill when there's a cannon invasion radius. And then, yeah, just do that, get early parts. Don't fight first hybrid before you're ready and try to get a critical mass of carriers.
Absolutely.
I think that's basically the deal with Karax.
Absolutely. I was actually thinking P2 so I can get the critical mass faster, but how about you, Tutu?
I use P2
There we go.
carriers because it's much easier.
There we
It's
go.
much easier. Early game, I built one observer. I sniped the detectors, and then I sent in zealots or the sentinels and finished off and collected parts. I don't think I got big mass until because I expanded kind of late since it takes a while to push. So at 18 minutes, I have 5 carriers.
Ouch.
That's
That was
not a lot
I
of
thought.
carriers.
But
I was relying on top bar to kill stuff. So I don't think I lost any carriers, or maybe I lost one. But then I eventually got to camp the laser, and then it was fine.
life was good.
Yeah, like once
Man.
once the lasers camped, like you can start doing whatever you want and just making more stuff.
With P2, you don't have cannon, so the way you probably want to camp is like surround the laser with pylons, with a gap in between, so you can like camp sentinels in there.
No, I just have the sentinel stand next to it, and I stop using F2.
Yeah, but I use F2, so that's what I would do.
But I mean, like, yeah, I mean, you just instead of F2, you just use 1, and then you have to add it. It's a little more work, but
Yes, I
it's
know.
not
But
too bad.
Maybe it's just me, but it feels like you've lost the point of using P2 if you only have 5 carriers by 18 minutes too. It's like, couldn't you just have used P3 and cannon since you're relying so heavily on the top bar?
I
But
would
yeah.
probably rush my way to the expansion, and I hope get more carriers. But the point stands.
I don't know. I personally really like having cannons for the early game when massing carriers, but if you want to be like just lazy about the early game and just use top bar and maybe a couple of zealots and then just go straight to carriers, that probably works too.
Oh, letter by the way.
B.
B.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I
Okay.
was like B, A, B, probably B. B. Yeah, B.
Fair.
Yeah.
I had him in A,
18
but
minutes, I have 5 carriers, and then by like 3 minutes later, I had double that amount, and then
nice. Anyway,
Yeah, so when
doubled
you
again.
finally started getting carriers, you got carriers.
he snowballs pretty fast. The ramp.
Like basically that's the problem with Karax P2 in general. I feel is that Karax doesn't want to rush carriers that hard, even if he's P2, because he wants to rely on get his top bar upgrades out and potentially get out either Legionnaires or cannons to handle the early game while he's rushing out all those top bar upgrades. And then once you get all that and you've got all your tech structures, now you start making carriers. But by that point, it would have been more useful, it feels, to just have more power ramping up to that rather than faster spamming of carriers once you've already reached a stable point.
All right. Anyway,
But anyways, that's just my opinion on why I feel like P2 Karax is less generally applicable than it may at first seem.
Kerrigan, what do we have?
Kerrigan, she's good, but she charges in and gets feared a lot. So what you do is you pop an Omega Worm in like
Vision
ahead of
range.
where you're gonna go, and then
Yeah.
the laser will target that. Then you attack stuff, which you might still get feared, but there's less chance of it.
Yes.
So yeah, I use P3 so I could attack from farther away.
Makes
P2
sense.
probably would work too. I just used P3 because I think since Immobilization Wave wouldn't kill anything, I'd rather rely on army instead and kill them during the stun. So I used P3 and Mask Mutalist because I like Mutalist. So I put her in B.
How about you, Stickspender?
Yeah, that probably makes sense. The only thing that I would do different is I don't like Mutalisks, but other than that, I'd probably use Broodlords or Hydras instead. And yeah, P3
Making
Kerrigan.
Brood Lords just to make a statement.
No, actually, Kerrigan's Broodlords are pretty okay. Stetmann's not so much. Kerrigan's are pretty good.
Okay, if you say so. Still B, right?
Yeah.
All right. Also have it in B. Nova. Where do we have him?
So Fear is annoying for Nova. Like, the first thing that comes to my mind is the fact that Fear is annoying for Nova because defense drones can't defend things that are feared, which means that anytime something gets feared, suddenly it goes from chonker to squishy instantly, and it's incredibly annoying. And then you realize that, like, despite that incredible squishiness, all of a sudden you still need to not lose units because you're a Nova, and then you get frustrated.
You can pre-shield with defensive drone, right?
You can, but like the problem is that when usually the first damage take also isn't going to fear it, so it's going to get hit by the first damage take, and the defense drone will cast the defense on it, and then it'll get a shield. The problem is once it gets feared, you can't reapply that shield until it gets so it's all the damage it takes, right? Yeah, so that's a pain. On the flip side, Liberators can snipe the laser drill really really early, and P3 Nova
That's what I was thinking.
collects. She's better than what Han and Horner's thing was. Oh, we can collect the parts with top bar without even going there.
That's what I
Nova
was
can just
thinking.
send her hero in to collect all the parts.
Well, she has a
Gets
nuke.
everything. She doesn't even have to like do anything. She can nuke the bases which are in front of the hybrid so that you don't have to actually deal with them. So they're just gone. So the bellies can just walk up and start shooting the hybrid. By the way, the belly's pretty strong against the hybrid, just in case people forget that the belly is actually like really strong. It's nice to have it alive for fighting the hybrid. Anyways, yeah, basically it's kind of a deal of your units are going to be pretty annoyed at the mutators, although there's nothing that really like makes them bad. And then your hero is just going to say, well, I'm annoyed at you too, Amon, so now I'm going to defeat you without even being seen.
Yeah. Wait, how about Raven turrets? Wouldn't Raven turrets just absorb all that damage?
Yeah,
Or
Raven
a
turrets
little.
absorb a lot of damage. That's a good thing to do, is spit Raven turrets out in front.
Okay, well, letter.
She's possibly S, maybe only A. I don't know.
How about you, Tutu?
This was much harder than I thought it would be. Because if you're not using P1, you don't have a shotgun, so it's the attack wave's kind of strong. If you you have to like position, you have to kill him quickly. Hopefully, I use P3, and I think P3 is pretty strong. So you can pretty much stay home while your army stays back. But hopefully, you gotta be able to kill them fast enough.
Yes.
What units did you use for your army?
Liberator, Banshee, I think, and tanks, I think.
You probably had Ravens there to absorb some damage, but
Ravens, of course. I always have Ravens.
Yeah.
So it's the usual stuff. It's just that I think I used Nuke Mastery, so I had more expensive airstrikes.
Yeah.
And then it was harder than I thought. It wasn't crazy difficult, but it was harder than I thought, because I thought I could like breeze through this and it wasn't that easy. If you're not P3, I think she would be lower, because she gets
obviously
weird.
yeah,
So
third prestige all the way. Letter.
I put her in B, but I think A would make sense.
Yeah, I also had her in A.
I'm surprised you had that much trouble with her army when you were using Ravens and Liberators. What comp were you fighting against?
No,
Like,
once I switched the
Shadow
comp to
Tech?
an easier one, I didn't.
What were you fighting, Shadow Tech the first time?
No, I don't remember what I was fighting the first time.
You're fighting your
I don't
own
know,
doubts and
Knight or
fears.
something?
The hardest enemy.
I don't even know what other than Shadow Tech could have caused you problems with Raven Liberator if you were correctly microing your Ravens.
The hardest
And I would
enemy.
expect you to know how to correctly micro.
No, I don't micro as much as you think I do.
I probably micro just about as much as you both think I do. Or don't.
Anyways, fighting waves is just you spam Raven turrets in front, and then you spam Seeker missiles, and suddenly everything's been just diedified, and you don't have to spam all the Seeker missiles to like kill a wave normally, so you don't have to spam all the Seeker missiles to get them to all just die. And now you have more Seeker missiles to spam at them, and now they are all dead. So like Ravens are really, really good, and Liberators should be able to just mop up anything that doesn't get obliterated by Ravens, because there are turrets holding them inside the liberation zones.
Cool.
And if it's a pure ground comp, you can just make a bunch of tanks and bomb spider mines at them until they stop existing.
Anyway, we agree on A, right?
Yeah.
Raynor, where do we have him?
Raynor's not bad, since we don't have that. He's meh. He's
Mediocre.
meh. So the laser kind of kills his stuff quickly. If there's a lot of stuff, he has a lot of units, but the laser can kill them pretty fast, unless you're using P1, which they'll die a little slower. I use P1 because it's fun. I like it. I don't think it's great, so I like P1. So I can send a group of fire bats ahead. They can tank the laser for a bit, and while the other guys will kill off the stuff. I would say Bile's better than Rebel Raider. Rebel Raider might be good like late game, but early on you're not gonna collect much. And Hyperion, somehow every time I summon it, it gets feared. Even though it has a lot of life, it gets feared. So it's kind of annoying if I want to like shoot stuff, specific stuff down. And since you summon it in the middle of nowhere most of the time, it usually gets shot by the laser.
Yeah. And the most annoying part is that the Hyperion is a capitalist ship. How can a capitalist ship, an inanimate object, get fear? How is that a thing? Continue.
Yeah. So I think Bile's better, but not by much. Especially if the enemy has if it's like a Just Die High Templars, they respawn with full energy and they'll storm you again.
Yikes.
So
ouch.
C. I might have to change him to D, but I'm putting him in C for now.
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Sixbender?
Yeah, it's basically just going to be a very, the best way I think to do this is very much just, blunt instrument bio with sheer quantities of bio. I think he can still make C with that. I think that P1 definitely is shooting yourself in the foot and making your job harder, a lot harder.
Okay.
But that's usually the case.
I had him in D, but both of you guys said C, so C it is. Stetboy, where do we have him?
Stetmann. You smash Zerglings and Gary into things. The Zerglings will get feared a fair bit. That's fine, honestly. Doesn't matter. If you have P2, Gary has 2,000 health. He does not get feared very often, as long as the laser drill doesn't get knocked on him, because the laser drill does a lot of damage ticks per second.
Oh yeah.
So that could be a problem. But as long as the laser drill's shooting at Zerglings, Gary's not getting feared anytime soon. You just have him run in behind a wall of Zerglings. The Zerglings don't have to kill anything. They just have to stand in front of him. So if they're feared, it's okay. Gary kills
they give him
everything
best
with
oil.
immense damage. If any Zerglings die, they just heal Gary and give bonus attack speed, so he kills stuff even faster. It's just your standard routine. He's probably just A tier. Oh yeah, you can also just get into infestors if you want at certain points, and at that point it's just hold down the spam roach button and throw roaches at bases until the entire map is devoid of anything that isn't Mecha Zerg.
Yes. How about you, Tutu?
I think he's just S.
Yeah, I think he's
you don't
S
do
too.
anything different. You don't do anything differently. You just play normally and put spines around the laser later on.
Are you convinced, Expender?
I think just play normally by itself is not enough to justify going all the way to S.
Really? How about infestors, Zerglings, and I don't know. You can camp the laser drill. You can.
You don't have to do anything differently than you normally do, and what he does normally is really
steamroll.
And by that argument, we should put Dehaka and Fenix both in S as well.
I mean, if you can
they're
justify
more
it.
comp-dependent.
No, they both do exactly what they do normally. They just play normally.
Dehaka's kind of gonna have a hard time against Terran, I think.
Okay, Dehaka might have a bit of trouble with the whole laser drill early on with his farming.
If you can defend,
right, I mean, I'm saying it as in you're normal for P2, but it's true. It's true. You're normal for P2. Technically, you ideally want to actually use your Dehaka before you get your dens out, but reality is it's just your dens killing everything. And Fenix, you can't argue that Fenix is normal play. Fenix is literally doing the exact same thing as normal. P2 Phoenix is just doing. He just does
two things. Number one, if you can say that Fenix definitely smashes as hard as he does, and this mutation, then sure, we can. You can make the case for S, and we'll consider it. And two, Stetboy smashes harder. I don't know. I feel like I steamroll even harder with Stetboy.
I'd actually say Fenix is higher than Stetmann personally. And I don't think Fenix is better than Stetmann here, and I don't think Fenix is S.
Okay, so are you standing your ground on A?
Yes.
All right. If it's not unanimous, it's not S. Tutu and I both had Stetboy S, but Sixbender says no. Stukov, where do we have him?
Stukov, I put him in S because you just build bunkers and everything will eventually die.
Yeah.
So you just walk over everything.
Stukov is S, Stetboy is not? What blasphemy is this? What?
I'm not sure why that is.
I'm not sure why that's the case. You have a much stronger anchor in the early game. And it's easier to get into your late game as Stetboy, but okay.
I would think that for Stukov in the late, like if the hybrid spawn stuff, that's kind of trouble, but you should have tanks or liberators later on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But okay. You gave Stukov an S, Sixbender?
I gave him S.
Oh, you gave him S.
Yeah, I agree with the S.
Okay, so both of you say S. Let's have an S. I actually also wouldn't disagree with S. I had Stukov between S and A at the start. I'm just weirded out that Stetboy's not an S. Swann, where do we have him?
Swann. Let's see. Swann it's a laser drill war with floating factories.
That's what I said.
Yeah. I don't think that's very good.
Oh, really? That's what Tutu said.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure who wins that laser drill war. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. And I didn't play this with Swann, so I really can't comment as to how effective Swann is.
All right.
Like even on paper, I just don't know who wins that.
How about you, Tutu?
I did a little trick where, it only works against Zerg. There's in the area to the right of the second player's base, there's a creep tumor, and once you clear that area, you I dropped a factory there, and I had 2 SCVs repairing it forever, and I did not bring any detectors, so the laser was shooting the factory forever, and SCVs were repairing it, so the laser was out.
That's a pro tip right there. That's a life pro tip right there. That's incredible. I need to do that at some point.
If you're fighting against Protoss, there is an observer there, so you can kind of do the same thing, except there will be an observer, and you do the same thing. So, and that area doesn't get attacked by attack waves. So, so you can pretty much move the factory in first and let it get shot, and then you repair it, and then just stick around, and don't bring any science vessels there, and it'll just get trapped. Terran, you can't do it because they don't have anything.
Do building armor and the fire suppression systems help, or does it not matter?
I think it doesn't matter because 2 SCVs should be enough, but they'll help, I guess.
All right.
But anyways, as for clearing, I use P1 and against Wraith, I use Wraiths. So P1 Wraiths with that trap.
Nice.
And because if you just use laser to clear, it's really slow, and with just die, it's even slower. So I wouldn't recommend just floating factories to clear stuff.
Okay.
With all that said, since he's a bit comp dependent and strategy is kind of niche, I put him in C.
Oh, how about you, Sixbender? Oh wait, Sixbender went first.
He didn't give a grade.
Yeah, he didn't
but-
give a grade. Since Sixbender gave him a C, or since Tutu gave him a C, I actually have an A. But all right, Tutu's probably better at me, or better than me.
I don't see anything wrong with what Tutu said. So
Yeah, all right, we'll give him a C. Tychus, where do I have him?
Tychus, I don't recommend using P2 because you get feared a lot, and then you don't have any backup near you. I used P1, and if you have Sirius, you have more turrets, so you throw the turrets ahead of you throw the turrets ahead before you go in, just like with Kerrigan. Similarly, then kind of like that. The problem is like all your units are important, and if one of them gets feared, even though it's shorter, they're kind of like out of commission for a bit, and you lose quite a bit of your power, especially early game where you only have like 2 dudes, and if one gets feared, that's half your power.
Half,
you
yeah.
can medevac them out, but you only have so many charges, so it's a bit annoying. But still, he kills stuff pretty quickly that he's not bad, so I put him in B.
How about you, Sixbender?
This is for Tychus we're talking about now.
Oh yes, Tychus.
Yeah. Tychus is again someone I wouldn't really know that much about how well he would do here, so I again see nothing wrong with what Tutu's saying.
I had Tychus.
I
had Tychus in C because the 5 guys are if one of them gets feared, that's 20% of your power gun. But I usually defer to what Tutu says.
Yeah, I don't think the losing 20% power is that big of a worry.
It's more of the earlier on when it's 50% of your power.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, if Tutu says B, I'm okay with B usually. All right. How about you, Sixbender? Also B.
Yeah, we'll stick with also B.
All right. Bicus. Vorazun. Where do we have him?
Vorazun is going to use the same thing as usual. Dark Templar with some Corsairs if you need to shoot up. Killing detection will be great because that'll mean the laser drill can't shoot you. Dark Templar can at least break laser drill by casting Shadow Fury, so the laser drill never gets to actually like ramp up against anything unless it gets feared, in which case it probably dies. But when it dies, it doesn't die. It gets emergency recalled, which still works when they're feared. They still go back to your nexus safely. So brute force, play normal, probably only B tier.
Aw. How about you, Tutu?
I also have Vorazun in B. Same thing. You want Corsair oracles if they are Protoss, so you can see the observers, and you kill them as soon as you can, so that you get free reign on their army.
All right.
And then when during time stop, if hopefully you know if you know the layouts of the bases with P3, you can time stop and like focus down their detectors.
Yeah.
If you know like where they are, the buildings or the ravens or something, you just focus them down. Yeah. So B.
Zagara. Where do we have him?
Zagara's interesting one.
Yeah.
I put Zagara pretty high because it seems strange that so Zagara against laser drill, she's really good against laser drill because she has so many targets, plus she has Zergling evasion.
Yes.
So like you see them shoot at a Zergling and then they'll switch targets, and it never gets to like really ramp up. And if they ramp up, then okay, one dies, you still have 50 more. I used P1, and P1 is good because you can delete waves pretty quickly. And another good thing is that if the boss hybrid summons stuff, you just use Scourge and you shoot them. You just target the hybrid. You don't fight the stuff that comes out.
Interesting.
So like the biggest problem would be like if they summon Corsairs, but that's
Oh,
only
yeah.
one comp. That's only like one comp. Maybe Liberators. That's like 2. So other than that, it's not that big of a deal, and it's pretty much like you charge into things.
All
And
right.
the map is cleared. I put her in A.
Awesome. How about you, Sixbender?
So we're saying that she just doesn't run out of stuff as she slams into the map, clearing through everything.
Apparently.
If you say she doesn't run out of stuff, then I guess A kind of makes sense. I don't know. I feel like my gut says Zagara is actually B. Like my gut says that like that's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. She has to be careful not to like lose too much to, like everything at every point she has to worry about losing too much.
Yeah. I also had her in A personally, just because of the laser drill stuff. It's so good when the laser drill doesn't do anything.
I still camped it. It's just I flew some overlords there, dropped some creep, and dumped like six
Spine crawlers. Yeah.
Yeah, spine
Yeah.
crawlers.
Yeah, you can camp the laser drill either way. Like only
Sure.
Han and Horner can't camp the laser drill.
Oh,
Han
I
and Horner
did.
F tier can't camp the laser drill. Well, they can, but like can't camp buildings. I mean.
Yeah.
All right, so A is fine, right? I just like you, Sticks, but I just feel a bit of disturbance in the force because Tutu didn't mention bio launchers. That's what felt off. That's definitely that was definitely it.
I just don't. I'm just like. I mean, I think I'm over here the same way you guys were over here, I guess, with Artanis. It's just like, are you sure about that one?
All right, fair. That's fair. I can see your
That
perspective on that
seems
one.
like an optimistic view of Zagara, and I know Tutu's very good at Zagara, but
I did use corruptors and manually had to corrupt the hybrid so that I
Oh,
saved
wow.
Scourge. But
Yeah.
I wasn't poor. I was maxed out when the game ended. So
You heard it here first, guys. Tutu's rich person. Ask him to adopt you. Zeratul, where do we have him? Cannon's good. S. Next.
I don't think his cannons are S good, but yeah,
All right, so letter.
A good instead.
A good. How about you, Tutu?
I put him in S, but A it's not unanimous. So I don't have a strong argument for S. So A is fine.
Yeah, it's not unanimous. So even if you're not okay, even if we both are adamant with S, if Sticks Bender says A, it's not unanimous. It's not S. So sorry, Zeratul. Tutu and I tried. Rankings.
Not really.
Okay, oh yeah, that's true. Neither of us tried, but can we just pretend that we tried? Who's the best among the S?
It's pretty clear.
Yeah,
Arcturus.
thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, then Stukov. Okay, so we had two guys in A who are S candidates, Stetboy and Zeratul. But Sticks Better says he likes Phoenix better. So who do we put on
Yeah.
top of A?
I would say
Stetmann.
Phoenix.
I actually say Stetboy as well.
I'd say it's very much Phoenix and then Stetmann. Like
I would
Phoenix
say
is
it's very much
definitely-
Stetboy because you have so many units to distract the laser drill with. You have the Stet zones, which buff your ally no matter what. You have Super Gary that can clear, even if you macro like a Bronze Leaguer. As long as you have Gary up, of course. But yeah, you have
yes, and you have
Infestors,
to micro the Gary and it,
shoot up, shoot down.
Phoenix has his air weakness.
Yeah, Phoenix has air
Stetmann
weakness.
doesn't have a weakness against air.
Except against Phoenix Phoenix Tempest competition because the Phoenix fly past everything. That's annoying. But
You make corruptors, right?
no, what I do with that is just fly Super Gary and
I mean, for
Take care of
Phoenix
the
with his air weakness is you just make scouts, and both of them have a hero unit that can just deal with air.
oh wow.
Is basically here.
I still think that boy is stronger because yeah, if nothing else, the buff to the ally pretty good, and the fact that you have so many things to draw aggro away from your ally.
To be fair,
the
you're
cooperative
gonna have
aspect.
you're gonna find spreading Steadalites annoying because the laser drill, but yes.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That is
Not
true.
disputing that. Okay. You know what? I think we'll just outvote you, Sticksbender.
Okay.
We'll just outvote you. We can have Phoenix number 2. If
Phoenix
you-
would be next then. Like there's
Yeah.
no one else who's competing with Phoenix. Zeratul comes after Phoenix then.
Yeah, Zeratul 3rd.
Yes.
There we go. Then Dehaka 4th or Nova. I think Dehaka.
Dehaka.
Yeah, Dehaka. Then Nova.
I
then
kind of felt
Zagara.
like Nova, but I'm okay with Dehaka.
All right. Then Nova, then Zagara, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. B, top of B. I would say Karax, top of B. I think I had him in A, so.
Karax.
All right, nice.
Yeah.
Karax makes sense, I think.
And then who's next?
Tychus?
Tychus? Really? Maybe Kerrigan? Because she has Zerglings, which she also has some
No.
Mega Worms.
Yeah. Tychus has Medevac, which can lift feared units, unlike Omega Worm, which can't save feared units.
But your Omega Worms can find the creep tumors, which will.
I
I guess Tychus also has the
Vorazun.
turrets. Vorazun? You think Vorazun? I won't disagree
Vorazun's
with
also got an
Vorazun.
argument.
Yeah, I won't disagree with Vorazun because
Because,
the time
Like
stop
if
is
a wave comes, you black hole it, you snipe their detector because it's in there, and it dies in like a second, and then you kill everything else for free.
Yes.
Mm.
In fact, usually what happens is if you have black hole, the wave dies regardless, even if you don't snipe any detector. So I'm okay with Vorazun being the second guy. Okay, let's put Vorazun as the second guy. Who's third? Tychus or Kerrigan?
Yeah. I still stand by. I think Tychus is better than Kerrigan.
How about you, Tutu?
Yes,
All right.
I think Tychus is better than Kerrigan.
And then Kerrigan and Alarak. Great. So finally, C tier.
okay.
Who's top of C?
Abathur.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
then-
still think Artanis is considerably better than Abathur, but okay.
Okay. Who's next? Oh, I guess we could put Artanis next. If it's C. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
that much.
Abathur, then Artanis, then Swann, then Jimmy, then Han Horner.
Really? You're putting Hot and Horner last? So it's Abathur,
Well, I guess
Artanis. I really like the
I
sniping
think
thing.
Han Horner is slightly better than Jimmy here. I think.
Yeah, just
Yes.
just the fact
I
that you
think
don't have to worry
Connor's better.
about
Then-
the the objective is a huge deal. Okay, so for C we have Abathur, Artanis, Swann, Hot and Horner, and Raynor. All right.
Okay.
Synergies. Do we have anyone in, or do we have combos of B or C who will outmatch one of the S tiers?
Well, Artanis and Abathur.
Artanis and Abathur.
Do locusts get Guardian Shell?
No,
Oh, they don't.
They don't? I
No.
thought they do.
no, they do not.
That's interesting.
No.
Oh, wow.
If they're
yeah,
not, if
no.
not, then that doesn't,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that doesn't
no.
matter.
Maybe.
Han and Horner and Karax. Karax IDEF, Han and Horner collects all the parts.
Oh, that'll
Everyone
work.
wins.
Yeah, Karax and Hot and Horner. Oh yeah, that sounds like a good combination.
Well,
Plus,
you gotta
Han and
find
Horner
the
really likes
hybrid.
Caribbean.
Yeah, you just have to worry about the hybrid, but
Yeah,
at
but
that point,
Get
well,
there to count it.
Karax can just
Yeah.
max carriers if Han and Horner's doing all the offense.
all of
You
the
can
collecting
easily
parts,
count the first spot, and then the second spot you need to clear some stuff, and then the third one you probably have an army by then.
How about
Yeah.
Karax and Vorazun? Time stop. I guess not a particular synergy.
I don't
they
see
just
any.
work
I
really
don't
well.
see any particular synergy there. No,
Yeah, they just work really well together.
they're just both. They're both
just
just
both
kind of
good.
decent commanders. Yeah.
How about?
Kerrigan and Jimmy because his bio really likes malignant creep a lot.
Oh, how about Artanis and Raynor? Garden Shell bio.
Why would you be going non P3 Artanis anyways?
Garden Shell bio. Oh, shield
bio
overcharge.
is
There you
better
go.
because shield overcharge
Yeah.
renders you
People
immune
love
to
to
fear.
cripple themselves for some reason.
Shield
to
overcharge
get-
bio. There we go.
Shield overcharge renders you immune to fear. So
All
that's the
right.
thing.
Some people love to sacrifice like 30% of their power to give 10% more power to their ally.
This is true.
How
Yeah.
about? I guess that's it. Yeah, that's all we need. All right, guys, watch Tutu and Sticks Better's channels. I will link them down below, and I'll see you guys next time.